Most people don't fail because they didn't have the talent or the resources. They fail because they didn't make the right choices often enough. And here's the truth: your life is a reflection of what you repeatedly choose, not what you say you want, not what you hope for, but what you do consistently, even when it's inconvenient. Every day is a crossroads, 100 little decisions that either pull you closer to your power or push you further into passivity. The difference between the person who just dreams and the one who becomes unstoppable, it's not luck, it's not fate, it's the ability to choose growth over comfort again and again. Unstoppable people don't leave their future to chance. They build it with intention. They don't live on autopilot, they live on purpose. From how they speak to themselves in the mirror, to how they treat the barista at the coffee shop, to how they spend their time when no one is watching, they understand that every choice is shaping something. And the most powerful part, these choices don't have to be loud, they don't have to be dramatic. Sometimes the choice is just taking a deep breath instead of snapping in anger, or going for a walk when your mind tells you to scroll, or choosing to believe in yourself for one more day when doubt gets loud. That's the heart of it. Being unstoppable isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional, about knowing that your power doesn't lie in one big moment, but in thousands of small ones where you had every reason to quit and still chose not to. You chose to rise, you chose to evolve. Every day you are either reinforcing your old story or writing a new one, and the pen is always in your hand. So don't wait for life to force your hand. Don't wait for rock bottom or external validation. Choose now, choose better, choose with your future self in mind. Because when your daily decisions are aligned with your vision, when you consistently choose to show up with honesty, discipline, courage, and grace, that's when you become truly unstoppable. Not because the path is easy, but because you decide to walk it anyway with full presence and unshakable purpose. Most people spend their lives chasing perfection, chasing an image, chasing a moment where everything feels just right. But the truth is, perfection is a mirage. It moves the closer you get. What makes you truly unstoppable is not chasing some flawless version of yourself. It's waking up each day and choosing presence over performance, progress over pressure, being here, not being ideal. Life is not asking you to be the best every single day. It's asking you to be better, just a little better than the person you were yesterday. That's the secret no one talks about. Growth doesn't always come with a big bang. Sometimes it's quiet, it's subtle, it's hidden in the smallest of decisions, the ones nobody notices but you. It's in the way you pause before reacting, the way you speak to yourself when no one's listening, the way you decide to rise again after a silent failure. And that one degree of change, repeated consistently, rewires your future. You don't need to transform overnight, you need to evolve daily. The world will tempt you to compete, to compare, to obsess over who's ahead and who's behind. But being unstoppable means tuning all that out. It means asking, am I showing up with just 1% more heart, 1% more clarity, 1% more courage than I did before? And if the answer is yes, then you're winning, even if it doesn't look like it yet. The most powerful people aren't perfect, they're present, they're deeply rooted in now, because that's the only place where change can begin. When you're grounded in the present, you stop chasing and start building. You stop rushing and start listening. You stop striving for a version of yourself that doesn't exist and start honoring the one who does. You don't become unstoppable by achieving everything. You become unstoppable by committing to something and doing it with unwavering focus, one honest step at a time. Let the world chase perfection. You choose progress, choose intention, choose presence, because showing up fully, even in your imperfection, is the most powerful thing you'll ever do. And when you do that consistently, when you decide to grow a little every single day, no force in the world can hold you back. Fear doesn't disappear when you grow, it evolves. It whispers new doubts, new insecurities, new reasons to stay where you are. And that's the thing nobody tells you. Being unstoppable doesn't mean being fearless. It means feeling the fear fully and still choosing to move anyway. There will be moments when your voice shakes, when your hands tremble, when your heart races with the weight of everything you're about to risk. But courage isn't about silence in the storm. It's about walking through the storm even when your knees are buckling. It's not about the absence of doubt. It's about the refusal to let doubt decide. The people who become powerful aren't untouched by fear. They just learn how to stand in it, breathe through it, and use it. They make it their compass. Because when you feel fear, it means you're on the edge of something important, something that could change you, and growth never feels safe, but it always feels real. Every time you show up afraid, but still step forward, something changes inside you. You reclaim a little more of your power. You silence the part of you that says, I can't. You build evidence that you're stronger than the stories that tried to limit you. Fear will always be part of the journey. Let it ride in the car if it must, but never let it touch the steering wheel. You're not here to be ruled by your hesitation. You're here to be led by your fire. And sometimes the most powerful decision you can make is to act, not because you're certain, but because you refuse to be frozen. Unstoppable people understand that fear is not the enemy. In fact, it's proof that you care, that you're growing, that you're human. But your power lies in this. Every time you feel the fear and still do the thing, still speak, still show up, still leap, you prove to yourself that you are not a prisoner of your emotions. You are a leader of your destiny. And in that, you become a force no one can shake.
Not even you.
It's easy to show up when it's exciting, when the results are visible, when people are cheering. But the ones who become truly unstoppable, they show up when it's quiet, when it's boring, when there's no applause, no recognition, no immediate reward. That's where greatness is built, in the repetition no one sees. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's waking up and doing the work again and again, even when your heart isn't in it. It's holding the vision so clearly that your emotions don't get to vote because your purpose isn't attached to how you feel. It's attached to who you're becoming. And the people who go the furthest in life aren't driven by moods, they're driven by commitment. You don't rise by doing what's convenient. You rise by doing what's required. And that requirement is consistency. It's the habit of honoring your goals, even when motivation has long left the room. Because the truth is, success doesn't shout, it whispers. And if you're not steady enough, quiet enough, patient enough, you'll miss it. Think about it. Seeds don't bloom overnight. They take time, effort, nurturing, even when there's no sign of life. But most people quit during the invisible phase, the phase where it seems like nothing's happening. But the unstoppable ones, they trust the process. They water their dreams daily, knowing that one day the roots they built in silence will birth something unstoppable. And let's be honest, there will be days when you'll want to stop, when your mind will whisper, what's the point? But that's when you remind yourself the point isn't perfection. The point is progress. One step, one habit, one choice at a time. That's how legacies are built. So don't wait to feel inspired. Become the person who moves anyway, the one who shows up, who doesn't just talk about ambition, but embodies it, who treats consistency not as a chore, but as a form of self respect. Because showing up for your goals every day in small ways, that's the most powerful promise you can make to yourself. And every time you keep that promise, you're not just getting closer to your dreams, you're becoming someone the world can't ignore, someone who is not just good, not just talented, but truly, undeniably unstoppable. Most people walk through life carrying weight they don't even realize is there. Insecurities buried under smiles, fears dressed up as ambition, patterns passed down from generations, repeated without question. And that's why the ones who choose to pause and look within, they're the rare ones, the brave ones, because facing yourself is far harder than facing the world. You become unstoppable the moment you stop lying to yourself, the moment you decide to stop running from your shadows and start getting curious about them. What are you afraid of? What stories are you still telling yourself that no longer serve you? What parts of your past are still shaping your future without your permission? And here's where the shift happens when you take those thoughts, those fears, those doubts, and you write them down, not to judge them, not to shame them, but to understand them. Because once they're on paper, they lose their power. They're no longer ghosts haunting your mind. They become truths you're brave enough to confront. This habit of journaling, of self inquiry, of radical honesty, it rewires your soul. It tells your subconscious that you're no longer hiding, that you're awake, that you're choosing consciousness over convenience. And from that place, you stop reacting to life, you start creating it. You become emotionally intelligent, spiritually resilient. You begin to notice the triggers before they control you. You catch the inner critic before it defines you. And slowly you start replacing noise with clarity, confusion with compassion, reaction with reflection. This is what most people miss. Strength isn't just built in the gym or in boardrooms. It's built in the quiet moments when you sit with your truth and say, I see you, I hear you, and I'm still choosing to grow. That kind of self awareness is rare, it's raw, and it's what separates the ones who repeat the same cycles from the ones who rewrite the narrative. So don't fear your weaknesses, face them, name them. And in doing so, you'll find out they were never your enemy. They were your mirror asking you to rise. Pain is not your enemy, it's your invitation. Every struggle you've ever faced, every heartbreak, every rejection, every failure that made you question your worth, those were not punishments. They were training. They were sculpting your soul into something unshakable. But the truth is, most people run from their pain. They numb it, avoid it, distract themselves from it, and in doing so, they miss the very thing that could have made them powerful. You don't become unstoppable by living an easy life. You become unstoppable by choosing to face your pain and turn it into power, by looking at your scars and saying, you didn't break me, you built me. The most powerful people you'll ever meet are not the ones who avoided the fire, they're the ones who walked through it and came out with purpose. You see, pain has a voice. It tells you where you're still growing, where you still need to forgive, to let go, to rise. And when you choose to sit with it, not as a victim, but as a student, everything changes because pain doesn't make you weak. It makes you honest. It strips away the noise, the ego, the masks, and what's left is raw, unfiltered strength. Most people think being unstoppable means never falling, but it's the exact opposite. It means falling hard and still choosing to stand up with grace. It means crying in silence and still showing up the next day with your head high. It means letting life break you open so that you can rebuild, not bitter but wiser, not closed off but clearer, more real. Pain gives you perspective. It teaches you what truly matters. It gives depth to your joy, hunger to your dreams, and fire to your voice. So don't hide your pain. Channel it. Don't wait for it to pass. Grow through it. Let it remind you that the fact you're still here, still trying, still loving, still dreaming, that alone makes you unstoppable. Because the strongest light is born in the darkest places. And your pain, when embraced, becomes the spark that sets your greatness on fire. There's a lie we've all been sold that we need to feel motivated before we take action. But the truth is, if you wait to feel like it, you'll never start. The most unstoppable people in the world don't rely on motivation, they rely on movement. They've learned that action creates emotion, not the other way around. You don't need to be inspired to begin. You need to begin to be inspired. There's magic in momentum. The moment you take that first step, no matter how small, you shift your energy. You remind yourself that you are not stuck, that you are capable, that your life is something you're actively shaping, not something that's just happening to you. And it can be something as simple as getting out of bed with intention, drinking that glass of water, stretching your body, making your bed, tiny acts that tell your brain, I'm in control. Most people wait. They wait for the perfect mood, the right weather, a clearer mind, more confidence. But waiting becomes a habit. And the longer you wait, the heavier life feels. That's how dreams die. Not from failure, but from delay. from all the tiny moments you told yourself, not today, you know. But when you move, even when it's messy, even when you're tired, you become your own rescue. You learn that momentum doesn't come from feeling ready. It comes from deciding you're done waiting. And once you move, something inside you unlocks. Confidence isn't born from talking about your goals. It's born from honoring them, even in silence, even when no one claps, especially then. Being unstoppable means refusing to negotiate with your excuses. It means understanding that your body and your mind are listening to every decision you make. So teach them that when life says slow down, you say not yet. That when fear whispers pause, you respond with progress. The ones who change the world don't have perfect conditions. They just keep moving through imperfect ones because deep down they've realized it's not about motivation, it's about motion. When you open your eyes in the morning, the world hasn't touched you yet. In that quiet space between sleep and the demands of the day, there is a sacred moment. Most people miss it. They reach for their phones, scroll into distraction, and start absorbing the noise of other people's lives before they've even remembered who they are. But you have a choice. Before you touch the world, you touch yourself, not in a physical way, but in a deeper, more spiritual sense. You ask yourself, who am I right now? Not based on yesterday's wounds or tomorrow's expectations, but in this exact breath. That silence becomes your strength. It's where you meet your mind before anyone else can influence it, where you set the tone. And in that moment, if you can just breathe, just be, just listen to what your soul is whispering, you become the master of your day, not its slave. Because if you don't lead your thoughts will be led by everything and everyone around you. And that's not how unstoppable people live. They don't just wake up and react, they create, they carve out even a few minutes to center themselves, to meditate, to pray, to affirm, to reflect. It doesn't have to be a ritual written in stone, it just has to be honest, just has to be yours. That morning alignment tells the universe, I'm not here to drift, I'm here to drive. And once you take that pause, even if everything else goes sideways during the day, you've already won because you didn't begin your day in chaos. You began in clarity. That makes you unstoppable, not because your path is perfect, but because your spirit is anchored. It knows where home is inside you. You don't wake up unstoppable. You build that spirit. You earn it through your habits, your grit, and your choice to show up even when nobody's watching. Every single day, you are offered two things: the comfort of staying the same and the discomfort of growth. One keeps you safe, the other makes you legendary. But most people don't choose greatness because it comes dressed like effort wrapped in the mundane, tied with threads of discipline. The first thing that defines an unstoppable person is not talent, it's intention. How you start your day is how you command your life. Before the world touches you, touch your mind. Whether it's 5 minutes or 50, gift yourself silence. Let your mind meet your soul before it meets the chaos. When you connect with yourself first, you don't beg the world to validate your existence. And then you move. You don't wait for motivation. Motivation is a myth that comes and goes. What remains is motion, that first push up, that cold glass of water, that walk under the sun, that little act of choosing life over laziness. It teaches your brain, I don't wait for permission, I act, and that action, that's your freedom. The people who become unstoppable are not the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who turn pain into power. They treat every wound like a window, every failure like firewood. They burn, but they burn forward. And every time life tries to break them, they rebuild, not in the same shape, but in a stronger one. You don't become invincible by ignoring your weaknesses. You become unstoppable when you face them unflinchingly. You journal your fears, you write down what scares you, and in that space between paper and pain, you reclaim your voice. Because once you understand your demons, they can no longer dictate your story. The people who go far, they don't talk about their dreams more than they work on them. They keep showing up even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when no one claps. They trust in delayed applause. They believe in quiet victories. And when others complain, they reframe. They don't say, I have to do this. They say, I get to do this. That shift from obligation to opportunity makes all the difference. Gratitude isn't weakness, it's a superpower because it pulls you out of excuses and throws you into action. To be unstoppable is not to be fearless, it's to fear and still move, to doubt and still speak, to hurt and still hope. The most powerful people are not untouched by the world, they are transformed by it, alchemized by every fall, strengthened by every rise. And above all, they don't chase perfection, they chase presence. They're not worried about being the best, they're obsessed with being better, just a little better than yesterday. That's it. One choice every day to be a little more aligned, a little more awake, a little more on fire for the life they want to live.